Hey, what's up, everybody? It's TJ, co host of the Now Mind You podcast, and it's Friday, April 22nd, 2022, coming at you again with a review of the latest chapter of Tokyo Revengers by Ken Wakui, chapter 250, titled Turn the Table. Now, before we proceed, as always, if you are not caught up, there will be spoilers ahead, so do what you gotta do, and when you're ready, meet me back here. I ain't going nowhere. I'll be up in the cloud in perpetuity, right? All right, so as always, I usually like to start with the previous chapter's last panel. Last panel, what we have? Akun. If it were the older days, I would have gave up or taken out a knife by now, but I'm fighting alongside him being Takemichi. So I'm not going to show my old cowardly ways. Let's get into the summary. We open up on Takemichi versus Kakucho round 2, but once again it looks like a pause is occurring, right? Both fighters are breathing rather heavy, with Kakucho expressing his frustration with Takemichi's seemingly iron will or at least stubbornness, right? Refusal to go down. We then cut to Akun, who's nodding toward Takemichi's back as he makes the same statement from the previous panel, right? From last chapter. He beckons Shion forward. Just die already, Shion yells as he cocks back his brass-knuckled fist. Akun calls out Shion for not shooting the fair one, slips that right hand of Shion's, and counters with a right overhand. You'll never get to the top like that, he declares, as his right hand perfectly connects with the left side of Shion's jaw. After a momentary freeze, we see Shion collapse to the ground. Definitely another morale boost to the rest of the second gen Toman crew, right? We then switch over to Inupi versus Wakasa, where both combatants look a little tagged up, right? Inupi more so than Wakasa, right? But then Inupi asks a question that has been on everyone's mind: why did he as in Wakasa, switch, right? Then Benkei shows up and smacks Inupi out of frame. We now have a change in combatants, right? Cut to the fight between the siblings being Haruchio and Senju, right? Haruchio, who is still unscathed, continues to mock his younger sister. The Empress, on the other hand, shout out Creepy Kitten 7, is battered and her face is covered with blood. Senju then states she doesn't want to fight her brother anymore and apologizes for the incident that led to Sanzu getting those scars on his face, right? He responds by hitting her directly in the head with that lead pipe. Senju has been taken out of the battle. Takemichi seems to notice this out of the corner of his eye and thinks to himself, damn, last panels, in this case, what you did back then was merely a trigger, Haruchio declares, as he turns his back and walks away from an unconscious Senju. A fallen comrade, the situation turns into Kanto's favor, and what does Sanzu really mean by those words, right? Let's get into the review. First of all, I've said in previous reviews, right? I've said it many times. I do not mind getting surprised with Akun's victory, and that's what happened this time around, right? That panel of his fist connecting with Shion's jaw was poetry in motion. Wakui knows how to draw. It's not as intense as a panel from like Hajime no Ippo, but man, it's up there. He basically snapped Shion's head around and got the dude's whole tongue sticking out of his mouth as he lay unconscious on the ground, right? For such an arrogant sounding character, or at least reading, right? Because we haven't seen him animated yet, but for such an arrogant like character, that was definitely a humiliating / cartoonish defeat. Another Ippo related thought, of course Akun's surname is Sendo. If you know, you know. The significance of Akun's win as a morale boost can be qualified as such. If I recall correctly, Akun's not even a captain in second gen Toman, right? He's just a regular foot soldier. Unless I'm mistaken, I can't remember if he was bestowed division captain status with the creation of the second gen of Toman, right, led by Takemichi. But that being said, if the other members see that Akun can pull this off, it'll boost their confidence 100%. Because remember, Akun doesn't really have a win streak if you think about it. He was taking L's alongside Takemichi since like middle school, right? So just something to keep in mind about how this could essentially boost morale all the way around. It's important to remember too that Inupi and Waka are actually homies. The way Benkei pushed Inupi out of frame reminded me of Grappler Baki, the original anime, where not the OVA, the original OVA, where like Baki shows up at the tournament and he doesn't have the trademark hairstyle we were used to, but he still had that mole. But the Grappler Baki anime, where Kaoru Hanayama basically smacked punched Baki out of frame when Baki was like 13 and it was their first fight. I couldn't stop laughing at that image, right? My man Benkei showed up like a new challenger approaches. My man showed up like the Undertaker sneaking up on a wrestler, right? You know the meme. Even Coco looked worried with the Goku, with the Gok, right? / gulp sound effect, right? Oddly enough, though, I don't think Inupi is that worried. He looked annoyed, but he didn't look like he was worried about this fight. We can't forget that he was also a part of the Black Dragons under Taiju, right? Haruchio said, no, but there's some brain damage you can take with you, to his sister's apology, right? Jesus, if Wakui decides to have realistic outcomes in the future for however he wants to wrap up this series, all these kids will not be living well. The sheer amount of trauma that they're receiving to their brain is alarming. That's all I'm gonna say there. I've covered this before, but it just worries me. Remember how I said earlier at the start of this battle that Toman would have to take some type of massive L to kind of balance out the scales? That was it right there. Well, I mean, it seems like that was it right there. Who knows, right? Senju was one of the tanks of the team. Remember, up until she got paired up with her brother, the Empress was collecting a literal body count with the goal being 100. Her being taken out of this fight is not only a blow to morale, but it's also putting pressure on Takemichi to beat Kakucho, right? If he loses that fight without even getting to Mikey, like, all hope could truly be lost. Just how warped is Haruchio anyway? I do recall there was that one chapter that explained why he stopped wearing a mask to hide his scars, but I don't care how this ends up getting explained away, if you think about it, right? Sanzo clearly has PTSD, and Mikey should have been institutionalized when they were all children. Now let's get into my predictions and questions. Senju might be truly out of the fight, or she can pop back up on like some Captain America, I can do this all day vibes, right? Shout out to Riola95. Mikey has not entered the chat yet, and when he does, it will be devastating. That pause that Waka took before Benkei entered the chat is giving me blackmail vibes, in the sense that, you know, Inupi just confronted him and he kind of went silent, and it just makes me think that they may have both been coerced into switching sides, and the fact that Benkei like kind of intervened to make sure that Waka wouldn't spill the beans is a little suspicious. I mean, that's the impression I got, right? What's up with again, I'm gonna keep throwing this theory out there, right? What's up with Senju's older brother Akashi? He has to be aware of what's going on, especially with his like direct siblings. He's also a former Black Dragon. I have a feeling he's gonna play a role in the final chapter, this final victory, right? He also was in that darkest timeline, you know, and shout out Taiju too. Is he gonna play a role in this? But either way, I'm hyped for the next chapter. Y'all know what it is. All in all, great chapter, and I can't wait to read everyone else's thoughts as always. Big shout out to the Tokyo Revenger subreddit. Big shout out to our YouTube subscribers. Shout out Guts Guy, shout out Riolu, shout out Creepy Kitten. Y'all stay in the comments. Appreciate y'all. Hey, if you like this, check out our main podcast, Now Mind You Pod, on Instagram at Now Mind You Pod. You can find me at Tuss4_skate, TUSS4_SKATE on the gram. I'll check you guys on the next one. Peace.